Hi everyone, welcome to North Star Knife Reviews. Coming at you this morning from the basement of an old church. My wife is doing some work upstairs, and so I came along with her, and I'm just down here and I had a little time, so I thought I would do a video. And this is a very special knife. This is a gift from Stuart Harvey, and I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. It was very generous, and I appreciate it so much. This actually is a kind of knife that I have looked at and I've been meaning to pick up, but I have never gotten one. And now Stuart Harvey sent it to me. I'm just again so thankful. I appreciate it. You know, the people in the knife community are so generous. This is actually, with the exception of a couple of knives that my sister found in a drawer and gave to me, this is, I believe, the first knife that I'm taking a look at that I did not purchase myself. So again, thank you so much to Stuart Harvey, and want to do him right by taking a good look at this, talk a little bit about the history of these knives. So, as a lot of you are probably familiar with, this is the demo knife, or milk knife it's sometimes called, general purpose knife, that was issued by the military. And this particular one is a Camillus, and you can see it is from 1997. Now, this is made of solid steel, okay, stainless steel, everything. It is not fancy, but it is indestructible, or pretty close. This is going to hold up a lot better than, say, Victorinox with the Celador scales, or even the Alox scales, something like that. The bail on here is actually riveted using one of the pivot pins. That is not going anywhere. This thing is really going to hold up. And, as I said, it's not fancy, fit and finish, certainly not what you would get on a knife that you might buy as a gentleman's carry or something, but that wasn't the point of these. The point was to get things done, and it is incredibly functional. Now, these types of knives, and Camillus was not the first to produce this, but they took up the mantle and produced most of them later on. But in World War II, the military had a need for, a rugged utility camp scout kind of knife that they could issue, that people would be able to, or the personnel in the military would be able to do a lot with. The first one of these demo knives was actually made and issued in 1943, and it was from Kingston. Now, Kingston was a joint venture that Imperial and Ulster Knife Company put together for the specific purpose of making knives for the military, and primarily focusing on this knife. It was very similar to this, but instead of U.S., it said U.S. Marine Corps. Did also have a few other distinct things. The cap lifter and can opener switched. So here you have the can opener at this end with the blade. On the originals, the can opener was at the opposite end, and the screwdriver cap lifter was on this end. Also, on the screwdriver, you had a little thumb stud that would help you pull it out because it was a very strong spring. And the original used carbon steel blades from Kingston. These from Camillus use stainless steel blades. Now, as I said, the original from Kingston came out in 1943, and then in 1949, Camillus produced its first prototypes of the Model 1760, which was made, if you were in the military, the spec number was MILK 818, which is why it's called a milk knife sometimes, the MILK. There were actually 8 companies that produced the milk knife, the demo knife, but the primary producer was Camillus. And in fact, during World War II, I found this interesting, Camillus was the largest producer of knives just in general for the military. Now, this Camillus did not come out these Model 1760s did not come out until after the war, even though they were based on the original Kingston. But during the war, Camillus made almost 17 million knives for the military, by far the largest producer. That's just an incredible number of knives to produce. Now, as I said, in 1949, Camillus brought out the first prototype of this, which was very similar to this, except it, like the original Kingston knife, had brass liners. And for one reason or another, they didn't go into production right away. It wasn't until 1957 that they began doing mass production for the military. And then from that point, they produced them until Camillus ended production in 2006 and 7. But when they came out with the mass-produced ones for the military, they had switched over to these steel liners rather than brass, and so now it is a completely stainless steel knife. Now, take a quick look at the knife itself. Again, I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. The Victorinox, I believe it's the Pioneer, is very similar, except, obviously the ALOX rather than this type of scale. Now, I think the reformed Camillus, which is now in China, may produce these knives still. I know Marbles is making a reproduction of this. I know you can get that on Smoky Mountain Knife Works and probably some other places as well. But this one is an actual U.S.-made Camillus, which I think is really cool. So you've got the can opener, which helpfully says can opener. Actually, that's not completely useless, because you pick up the knife, you look at it, you can tell without even opening it, oh, here's the can opener, here's the cap lifter screwdriver. So it does, I suppose, serve that purpose. You then have, and this is a very stiff blade on this, or spring on this, the long screwdriver with the cap lifter bottle opener on here. Okay, and this, as I say, is a very stiff spring, so it holds that in place quite well. The blade, which is a little over 2.5 inches, and about a 2 1/4 inch cutting edge, nice spear point, good belly on that. Again, you can see Camillus 1997. All right, and this does not look like it has ever been used. So again, I'm just blown away by the generosity from Stuart Harvey in sending me this. And then the awl, which is a bit different than the awl you see on some of the other kinds of knives. Comes down to a nice little point here. It's not a needle point, but it is pretty sharp, kind of like a little chisel. And I think would work very well. So there you go, the Camillus Model 1760. This is a 1997 example of that. If you were in the military, you may have had one of these. Hope you found this interesting. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart to Stuart Harvey. I really appreciate you sending me this. And I hope you all found this interesting. As I said, please subscribe, and I will catch you next time.